Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man, and as always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. I'm going to entitle this video The Man's Code. And most men know what the man's code is. And for those who don't, I'm going to explain it to you today. This is I guess a part two of the video that I did yesterday about the Will Smith, Chris Rock incident, how I support Will Smith 100% on his actions. You know, an action creates a reaction, and when you don't start something, there'll be none, like the James Brown song. And I talked about how it was disrespectful for Chris Rock to go after Will Smith's wife, you know. And that's the man code. The man code is, if you don't do nothing else, don't do this. Because when you do this, it's going to result in repercussions. You know, it's like there's no reason for you to insult this man's wife. Or this man's wife or girlfriend, because you know what's going to happen to you when you do that. Because that's off limits. And when you decide to cross that line, you get dealt with. You know, you can't write it off as, something about this noise. You can't write it off as, it was just a joke and you should take it seriously. You should have seriously not done it, you know. And Chris Rock know better. But he's been egging these people on and insulting them for years. Because they show clips on today on the news. And I'm like, I know he was an asshole, but he done spent a great deal of time tearing Will Smith down and insulting his wife. Because I'm quite sure he wouldn't want anybody tearing him down and insulting his wife. I mean, you try to do the same thing for people that you want them to do to you or not do to you. And it's like, it's not that difficult to figure this out. You ask yourself, do I want to be insulted or my wife insulted on national TV and I'm there? No. So why would you do it to another man? You know, I got a bunch of calls yesterday from a lot of good friends that are comedians. And they said, man, you know, I appreciate what you did in that video because that's how we feel, the majority of us. Because back in the 80s, I wrote a lot of comedy bits for comedians in the Chicagoland area, you know. And they said, man, you got a gift and you should get up here. I'm like, no, that's just not my thing, man. I respect you guys for going out there and putting yourself out there and hoping that nobody that's jealous try to trash your bit, because we get a lot of that as musicians. You got these jealous dudes sitting in the audience with their women and they women screaming, so they're angry at us. And it's like all we're trying to do is entertain everybody. We're trying to entertain your women. We're trying to entertain you. We're not doing anything that's offensive to you. We're not doing anything that's offensive to her. You know, because I've always been attention to detail when it comes to stuff like that. You know, there are women that jump up on the stage and trying to grab the lead singer while her man is sitting in the audience who paid for her ticket. And, you know, we address that by being respectful, not grabbing on the woman and, you know, trying to help her politely get her back to her seat, because we know that the man that brought you here is not taking too kindly to this, and we wouldn't either if we were the guy in the seat that paid for the tickets, and you know, you up there egging our woman on, you know, going caressing her, and she want to caress you. So we think about those things that some people, unfortunately, sorry about all this noise, things that a lot of people just don't think about. And it's like we kind of one step ahead of the game. So again, the comedians that chimed in and called me today said, man, you know, thanks for the video, because there are some people in their business that they will go this attacking and insulting route just to get attention and laughs. And a lot of people don't think that's funny. You know, and it's like, when did comedy evolve into I'm attacking you and insulting your woman? You know, comedy used to be about funny observations in life that people don't think about, like this one. And I wrote this bit. You go into the grocery store and you see about 10 people in there, and then when you finish with your grocery, you get about to get in line, and those 10 people that were in the store are all in front of you. And it's like, damn, you know, everybody had the same idea a moment before me to get in line. Funny observations. It's not insulting to anybody. Funny observations. You know, we're not talking about somebody's wife or talking about somebody. You know, that's a low blow laughter. You know, you do that because you're not funny enough. Because, I mean, the funniest comedians of all time never used a bit of profanity or insult anybody. You know, Seinfeld, his bit. You know, Seinfeld was a comedy genius. Cosby, Sinbad. And, as far as Richard Pryor's comedy bit, he had a lot of profanity, and it was kind of risque and adult-only humor, but not once that he deliberately went after somebody or somebody's wife. Because it's like, that's off limits. But now you got these comedians, they call themselves comedians, and they desperate for laughter, so they start to cross that line. And that line shouldn't be crossed. And if it does, you should be dealt with, Because Will Smith did apologize. He gave a public apology. And then he also gave an apology last night at the awards. And in the awards apology, he did not apologize to Chris Rock, which I don't feel he deserved one, But he did apologize publicly to Chris Rock today in a statement that he released. I'm waiting for Chris Rock to give a statement to apologize for insulting him and his wife in front of millions of people across the world. He didn't do this in the bar. He did this in the top platform on TV. So I'm like, I would be insulted too and want to punch that man that he put me and my wife on blast on national TV. And one of my comedian friends said this. I said, I never thought about this, but it sounds like you're right. He said, all Chris Rock now is an overpriced court jester for white folks. And I said, man, I thought about this. Yeah, I would agree, because you don't attack anybody in that manner with everybody watching, He punked Will Smith, and Will Smith stepped up to the occasion because the comedian Hattis, I forgot her first name. She's a female comedian. She's hilarious. She did something really cool. She released a statement today saying, what I seen was a beautiful thing, a man protecting the honor of his wife. And that's what men do. We protect the honor of our women. We don't let anybody come in here and insult them for no reason and think that it's okay. Because that's what I'm fear of as far as, are some people going to take this as, oh, it's okay, comedians should say what they feel, and, they protected by the First Amendment. And the First Amendment is not designed for you to go around insulting people, threatening people, being disrespectful to people. It wasn't designed for that. It was designed for you to speak your mind, but not be unprofessional. Because like Ice Cube said, or Ice-T in the song, you got the freedom of speech, but watch what you say. I totally agree, because no one gives you the right to go out and be offensive and vulgar. I seen this on YouTube. It was this comedian. I forget his name. I've seen him in movies, and he's funny. And he was doing his bit, and he was extremely vulgar. It's like, man, nobody needs to hear all that. And this lady came out of the audience, and I guess the term they use for white women that are self-entitled are Karen. And that's what they labeled her in that video. I'm like, I don't agree, because she didn't feel she was self-entitled. She just felt that what you were doing was extremely vulgar. And she didn't come here for that. And I'm like, I totally agree, because some of the stuff I heard him say, it's like, come on, man. This is nasty. It's disrespectful. It ain't funny. And it's insulting. But you got this new breed of low-level comedians that think that because they desperately trying to get laughs, and this is the only way to do it. A good comedian, like, again, a Cosby and a Seinfeld and Sinbad, they can go up there and make you laugh, crack your stomach, barely can breathe because you're laughing so hard, and not utter one word of profanity. Sorry about this. And insult, And that's how it should be, because, again, this being extremely insulting it's not funny. Again, Richard Pryor, his whole bit, it was kind of adult and had laced with profanity, but again, not to deliberately insult an individual, singling people out. And to do that on a large platform, the Academy or the Oscars, and everybody's watching, and you think it's okay and funny to insult this man and his wife. I agree 100% with what Will Smith did. Now, some people say, and I would tend to agree with this, well, maybe he shouldn't have did that. But again, if he hadn't done that, that would never happen. You caused this chain of reaction by being extremely offensive to another man's wife. And that's the man's code. You don't cross that line, because if you do, you better be prepared to get your ass kicked. Seriously, sometimes get killed. And we know this, but some of us decide to do it anyway. It ain't like Chris Rock didn't assume that, man, I didn't realize that it had a series of a repercussion that me saying this, he knew this. Most of us know this, you know? Even when we claimed it, you know, we don't know it or we didn't think it was that serious. We know. We just think we can get away with it, and he's been getting away with it. And he got called out that night. And again, I applaud Will Smith for doing that, because it's like somebody got to stop this instead of just sitting your chill laugh. That was funny. No, it wasn't. But you're going to laugh anyway and just play it off. And what you're doing is you're sending the signal to the comedians out there that it's okay to do this when it's not, you know. But let me see. Because I wrote some of this stuff down. I didn't want to forget it. Because another guy chimed in today. I think his name is Valenzuela. He used to play basketball. He's a former professional basketball player. He suffers from alopecia. And I remember him when he used to play because he had his head shaved and he didn't even have no eyebrows. He looked like he was going through chemotherapy. And he said he took offense to it too because all his life he's been ribbed because of his condition. And he didn't find it funny. And he said like that last night. He didn't find that funny. It's like, we have a medical condition. So, you know, you should respect that. Let me see. I just want to make sure. Because I want to make sure I cover everything here. The Man's Code, Seinfeld. And you ask yourself, when did comedy evolve into simply attacking people's person and insulting them? You know, because again, 20, 30 years ago, we talked about life experiences and how the system ain't right and things of that nature, but we didn't go after, or they didn't go after, you know, Pacific people to insult them. Because I've written over 100 jokes that I've given to comedians because I'm like, it's not about money, you know, it's about sharing, you know, in the entertainment community. Because you would think, since Will Smith and Chris Rock are in the same profession, that Chris Rock would be professional and be respectful. Because I seen some of the clips years ago that when he was trashing Will Smith, and one of them was, you know, why did he get $20 million for the Wild Wild West? I didn't think the Wild Wild West was a bad movie. Actually, it's a pretty good movie. What I thought was ridiculous, and I understand why they did that, why they casted him, because he's a big box office draw. But they threw him in a movie, or put him in a movie that he shouldn't have been in, because I'm like, when was there a time back in the 18th century that black men was in law enforcement? We were still getting hung in the South, you know? So I found that to be ridiculous. But in spite of that, and I understand why did they put him in there, it was funny. It was a good movie. He did a good job. But it's like, well, no, he shouldn't have been put in there because we wasn't, you know, fighting crime back in the 18th century. You know, we were getting hung and lynched. So that's why I found that to be ridiculous, you know. But he's trashing another fellow artist, entertainer, about his projects. Ain't nobody, you know, tripping and trashing his body of work, because there's some movies he should have never been in, you know. And let me see, Chris Rock. Yeah, you know, make sure that I got everything. I always joked, you know. But I guess I'm going to sign off now because I just kind of wanted to put in, you know, some of the comments that friends of mine, comedians, they wrote. They said, no, that was foul, man. You know, that's just it's messed up comedy. You know, you want to make your audience and your customers laugh, not get mad to the point they want to hit you. When those things happen, you need to reevaluate your whole bit. You know, because it's like no one comes to the comedy club to be insulted. Because D.L. Hughley was notorious to that. When I first seen him, I'm like, he's funny, he is funny, but this is foul. You know, the people in the front row, you know, being real disrespectful and insulting. It's like nobody finds that to be funny. Nobody finds humor when they're the butt of the joke. You know, you go survey anybody out there, you might get one guy that love to be tortured or you know, beat down or whatever. But I don't think nobody gonna say, yeah, I'll sign up for that. I do think it's funny that I sit here and this man who don't know me insults me. And then sometimes go far enough to insult the person sitting next to them that came with him. It's like, that's not comedy. You know, the real comedians would say that's not comedy. Comedy is someone kind enough to come to your show, support you, pay for a ticket, and you make them laugh. That's what comedy's about. It's not your customers or your audience show up and you go on a tangent, terrorizing them, insulting them, being extremely offensive. And they supposed to pay you for this. On that note, I'm signing off until next time. Take care and thanks for watching.